Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Rampage or Ramfru. I, Mike Lane, here with Tony Schiavone and with Paulie Dangerously. And today on Rampage or Ramfru, we're going to see the TWF Women's Heavyweight winnings on stake when Bailey puts her TWF Women's Heavyweight winnings on stake here today. Against someone, Mike Lane says. Sorry for clearing his throat. Well, that's right, Tony Schiavone says. Today we're going to see Bailey put her TWF Women's Heavyweight winnings on stake here today. And it's bound to be a good show. With a good match, Tony Schiavone says. You got that right, Mike and Tony. We're going to see the TWF Women's Tag Team winnings be on stake here today. No, Women's Heavyweight winnings be on stake here today, my mistake. And Bailey doesn't truly know who she's going to be, wrestling against or fighting against. Well, Paulie Dangerously says, so that's going to be a strut for her. I don't know how she's going to deal with it. Well, Bailey really... Well, now she's in the ring now. So, I understand. Hey, and shifting the ring doesn't knock me down. Well, I understand that today I'm going to be putting my TWF, Women's Heavyweight winnings, on stake. Against someone, and I don't know who, but I'm ready for, that there. Well, here comes, the overseer of the TWF women's team, Gil Kim, who has at least had the rank more than once through her run in the toy wrestling gathering that started in 2000 and served between FYL. When she got bought from Ringside Gatherings, Mike Lane says. Yeah, that would be right, Tony Schiavone says. And maybe she's gonna tell, Bailey who she's gonna be wrestling and fighting. Or Paulie Dangerously says she could be the one that Bailey's wrestling and fighting here today. You never thought of that, did you? Alright, Bailey, you're the TWF Women's Heavyweight fighter. And you want to know who you're going to be wrestling and fighting today. Well, today that will be me. Now, I know some folks might think, oh, it's unfair. That's... Some folks will most likely, shame me or guilt me or scare me for it. But I do think, Bailey, me and you would have a good match. And I mean, I did win the TWF Women's Heavyweight winnings at least 8 times. TNAW was catching up, but they stopped it at 7. Yeah, Bailey says, I do kind of knew, I had known back in the day that the WWE Women's Heavyweight winnings that I won at least 2 times, that you won in your first run in WWE. But then I also know you also were a 7-time TNAW Women's Heavyweight fighter too. And I know all about how you won the TWF, Women's Heavyweight winnings at least 8 times. And so, yeah, I don't mind saying that I have on look for you, and at the same time I forgot you're also a former TNAW Women's Tag Team fighter as well. Something I did myself. 2-time Women's World Tag Team, 2 times Women's World Heavyweight fighter, 2-time WWE Women's Heavyweight fighter, 2-time WWE Women's Tag Team fighter. So yeah, I guess we kind of both did those same things. Well, yeah, that's right, Bailey. We never wrestled, though. since you're in WWE, I'm still in TNAW. Even though WWE and TNAW have this working deal, it seems only to be offshooted for the NXT side so far, not the Raw or SmackDown side, or the Impact side, or the Smash side. Well, this is for the TWF Women's Heavyweight Winnings. First, she is the overseer of the TWF Women's team, Gail Kim, and she's a TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter, Bayley. Well, keep in mind, Mike Lane says that is the belt. The strap we showed there was offshooted from the 9 between 98 YL offshoot of it, which was worked until 2000, until 2010, 11 YL though. A newer offshoot of it got offshoot after that, Mike Lane says. Yeah, that's really, the truth is, that is the 2-diff offshoot. And now, Gil Kim just body slammed, Bayley. And Gil Kim did a drop kick, and down went Bayley. The former 7-time TNAW Women's Heavyweight Fighter got the upper hand on the 2-time WWE Women's Heavyweight Fighter, 2-time Women's Heavyweight Fighter Bayley. Tony Schiavone says, well, you do know, Paulie Dangerously says, that TNAW, which became IW, GSW, IW, TNAW, still calls their women wrestler knockouts. They haven't, shifted away from that. And the sad thing is, Paulie Dangerously says, back in the day, WCW didn't have any women team to speak of except what they did in between 96, while ECW really didn't do really that at all. So we got, what was our forgiveness? Only WWE and TNAW were doing it. Oh, now AEW does it now. Now OVW and MLW and NWA do it. But I still like to think the greatest women wrestlers are in the WWE. And now Bayley wants to try to give the rose plant to Gil Kim. But Gil Kim gets out of the way, but instead it goes to a Bayley to belly. The other end hold that Bayley once did, And she hoping to beat Gil Kim. 1, 2, and only a 2 count. Looks like that ain't not gonna happen, Mike Lane says. Well, looks there comes a rose plant, Mike Lane said. This might do it, Tony Schiavone said, because it has helped Bayley beat sundry women wrestlers on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Tony Schiavone said, and Paulie Dangerously says it's going to help her beat Gil Kim here today. A WWE wrestler, WWE women's wrestler beating a TNAW women's wrestler. 1, 2, 3. Ding ding ding. Here is your winner, and still the TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter, Bayley. Well, Bayley isn't only, but she also is a former 2-time TWF Light Heavyweight Fighter as well. Tony Schiavone said we forgot about that. Well, it looks like that Gil Kim's hope of becoming a 9-time TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter did not happen, Mike Lane says. No, it did not, Tony Schiavone says, and Gil Kim gave it her all. But at the end of the day, the former WWE Women's Heavyweight Fighter, 7-time TNA Women's Heavyweight Fighter, did not beat the 2-time WWE Women's Heavyweight Fighter, the 2-time Women's World Heavyweight Fighter, Bayley. Tony Schiavone says, I can tell you right now, Paulie Dangerously says, I think that Bayley and Gil Kim should have more matches and more fights between each other. And who knows? Who knows what will come out of it? I know it's not the nowadays Bayley doll, but yeah, well, that's greater than nothing. Well, Alright, Mike Lane said we're taking it away now to Gene Okerlund. Well, thank you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. I'm going to be talking with Bailey here today, the TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter, and also the WWE Women's Heavyweight Fighter, too. Shit, well, there it goes. I get the arm up. Once again. Shit. Alright, Bailey. We just seen you out there having one hell of a match with Gail Kim, and everyone wonders, what do you think about that? Well, wrestling or fighting Gail Kim is more like a dream come true, because she is one of those very few good skilled women wrestlers. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of good skilled women wrestlers, no need what wrestling business they happen to be in. A lot of folks like to knock the WWF, WWE women's, women for all the things they did in the past, about how it was earnest and it wasn't earnest and it was earnest again. And everyone likes to talk about how all the NWA and OVW and MLW and TNAW and AW are more greater than WWE and that. Well, no, I think WWE women wrestlers have come a long way too. Anyway, yes, Gail Kim, it was a dream come true for me, because very few folks will ever say they're going to see that in true life. Well, it's true that I don't think we'll ever see Gail Kim back in WWE again, but never say never. Her free diff run could come out of the working deal between WWE and TNAW now. Your guess is good as mine. But yes, a lot of folks out there always felt that WWE dropped the ball on Gail Kim's first run in WWE and her two-diff run in WWE. Yeah, need be true. Maybe Gail Kim got handled greater in her first run in TNAW and her two-diff run in TNAW. Yeah, that need be true. But I beat her, and I have all the onlook in the world for Gail Kim and what she done in WWE, TNAW, and WWE and TNAW, and what she's still doing. And if she wants to have another match with me, well, I'm open-minded to the dare. Well, that's my talk with Bailey. Back to you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. Well, thank you, Gene Okerlund, for talking with Bailey here today on Rampage Ramfru. And that's all the time we got here. I, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone, and Paulie Dangerously. We hope you like Rampage Ramfru, and we'll see you tomorrow for Collision or Hit in your bedroom.